we create this tool basically to enhance ourselves. I mean, we want to advance technology, and so we created these machines that can go way past us. The way to do that is to actually bring that intelligence into ourselves. And during the 2030s, we're going to be able to enhance our own intelligence by bringing AI into ourselves. So it's not just going to be humans versus machines. They're going to be together, and we're going to be more advanced because we'll have AI inside us.
I can hold a smartphone in my hand, which gives me access to the everything.
Yes, it does. It does that somewhat.
Isn't that the same thing? Except I don't. It doesn't require neurosurgery for me to gain access to the.
Well, you don't have to use neurosurgery. I mean, there's ways to do this.
You have ways. you have to do it with your fingers. We have ways. I've done some reading about nanobots. Is that ready for prime time or not?
No, but I believe it will be ready in the 2030s.
And these are small. They're basically small machines that live in your brain and communicate with the internet.
Exactly.
How, when I walk into a store, hopefully, how will I pay for that?
Well, I think you'll be walking into a virtual store, and most products will be virtual, even food and clothing and everything we need will be virtual. The era of three-dimensional printing is already coming, and we'll be able to download a design for clothing and then print it out, and there'll be open source forms of information, so open source clothing that you can download and then print out with three-dimensional printers at a few pennies per pound. So well before 2099, just about all the physical things we need will be information files. So already I can email you a book or a movie or a sound recording, and I can actually email you today a violin or a guitar, and you can print it out in a three-dimensional printer. There's a band that has all three-dimensional 3D printed instruments.
Yep.
Pretty soon, all the physical things we need, certainly by the 2020s, will be information files. And you'll pay for these with online forms of purchasing, and you'll be able to buy them on online stores. I mean, already online shopping, even for things that we don't print out, is ubiquitous. And that's growing very rapidly, and physical retail is coming down.
Yep.
People still like to go in to feel the clothing and try it on themselves, but we'll be able to take a three-dimensional scan of our bodies and actually see in 3D an avatar of ourselves and see how the clothes looks. And we won't be limited to just the things on the rack and, oh, I love this shirt. It's not available in my size. You'll be able to design, see the clothing on your avatar, then actually have it printed out in not only the right size, but in the exact shape for your body.
So what about the very real pleasure that I personally get from champagne? Will that be gone?
Well, virtual reality is another emerging technology. So already we can do what we're doing now in terms of being together. And there's technologies, rather than just sort of, having images on the screen, like with Google Hangout, I can actually sit and look around you and feel like I'm together. There are primitive forms where we can touch each other. Once virtual reality goes inside our brains, and that'll be here by the late 2020s, and basically, I mean, my brain doesn't directly feel things. There's signals going into my brain. We can actually trap those signals and actually send into the brain signals representing a virtual environment. And so the computer will actually create the environment, and then we can be virtual actors in a virtual environment and do any of the things we do in real reality, like be together, hug each other, whatever, in a virtual environment. We can eat in a virtual environment and have that sensual experience because our brain is receiving these signals as if they were coming from the real world, but it's actually the virtual world. You'll have a body in the virtual world, but it doesn't have to be the same as your physical body. So if you go into something like Second Life today, already people have avatars representing them, and they can look different. Now, the avatars over here, although psychological experiments show that people actually identify with that avatar, but in the future, it'll actually be like this is my body and like I'm looking, but I'll actually have a different body. A couple could become each other, for example, and experience their relationship from the other's perspective. But you'll be able to do the things like eating that you do in real reality and have that sensual experience in a virtual industry.
So, what in this virtual world, what will value be? Like, because you're talking about that the price of everything drops, and you can sort of, whenever the whole world is digitized, you could just...
Well, it's for proprietary forms of information. I mean, look at music, movies, and books as a forerunner of that. That's pure information, and you spend money for a book, and you get it as an ebook, and it's just information. Now, there's also free books, and there's millions of free books. You could never finish reading all the free books. You still spend money for proprietary books because you want to read that book. And you're going to spend money for a hot design from the latest hot designer for clothing, even though you can get very good free designs. And you're going to have this coexistence of open source and proprietary forms of information. And that's the nature of value, information that people want to acquire and are willing to pay for.
Merge in payment systems such as Bitcoin that changes the paradigm of who's controlling what.
Well, Bitcoin is interesting because it's not just a payment system; it's a whole currency. But I mean, everything is going virtual, and already we pay for most things, even just using credit cards, or, PayPal, and so on. We pay for things online. That's going to increase over time. Our cell phones will be able to pay for things. So we won't need to handle currency or even carry physical devices around. We'll be able to pay for things virtually. The nature of currency is interesting. I mean, what is currency? It's an agreement of, it's basically a big agreement system among people that everybody respects. Actually, 20 years from now, we'll get all of our energy from very low-cost renewable sources, and they'll be decentralized. Water will be decentralized. Food will be created in decentralized vertical agriculture, automated facilities.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And if you're not a part of the Patrons, guys, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And you're hearing this from Ray Kurzweil, and I think this video goes all the way back to 2014 or earlier. But we have Ray Kurzweil talking about virtual reality, tokenization, and he called Bitcoin a currency. And guys, if you read the white paper, you know that's exactly what it is. But then he talks about hyper-deflation because the way we produce things are going to change. And we talk about internet interfaces. Now they're going to be a part of you. I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And Ray Kurzweil is not talking about predictions. Remember, he was head of Google, so therefore he was working on these projects. It's all called evil genius. Remember, this technology can be used for good or evil. And then we have Jamie Dimon coming in again, giving a warning. And that's his job. He's going to keep warning you because he knows what's around that corner. And if you're part of my stock channel, you heard from fund managers saying the same thing. It's definitely not going to end well. But guys, that's the reason why we're seeing all these layoffs. That's the reason why we're starting to see automation is keep picking up, because the machines are about to take over the economy and the sheep are about to get fake money airdropped to them and then go inside the metaverse. You can't make this stuff up, but we know the sheep are going to fall for it. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I'm a skeptic. I think that because of fiscal spending and other factors, and let me list them for you for a second. I look at a lot of things and forget just economic models for a second. $2 trillion of fiscal deficit, the Infrastructure and IRA Act, the green economy, the remilitarization of the world, the restructuring of trade are all inflationary. And that looks a little bit more like the 1970s to me. So I think there's a chance that people should be prepared for that inflation comes down, but then bounces around 3, maybe even bounces up a little bit, and those implied curves will change. And then, are people ready for that? I'm not sure. But, I just give that a higher chance than other people give it.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.